to Inside the NBA. We're going to be going back to Salt Lake City for some live interview after the Jazz takes care of the San Antonio Spurs tonight. But first, we're going to saddle up and go dancing with some highlights. Jackie Gleason used to refer to Miami as the sun and fun capital of the world. Well, that's quite true if you happen to be chilling on a nice beach someplace in South Florida. But when you are the Atlanta Hawks trying to win a playoff game in hostile territory, much different story. The Heat, shorthanded and all fired up after the big WrestleMania thing they had in Atlanta at the Omni Saturday, came out to prove that they indeed mean business in this series. We'll take a look at the highlights of Game 3 for you. They came in tied at 1-up. Kevin Willis and Danny Manning hoping to come up big, and Steve Smith does. He's working on one bad leg, but he comes up with a layup here, the reverse. And Coach Lenny Wilkins says, man, this is a bad house, and we're going to have some problems. Smith here, one-handed Jays, who rubs off a little Ronnie Cycli screen. Then John Salley turns up the D as he rejects Craig Elo, pinning it right to the glass. Then Glenn Rice sets himself on fire. The three, the jam, the hoop where he is hacked in the act. Nicely done. Grant Long out of the game. Everybody picked up the slack. He was suspended as of that Saturday night thing. Elo inside to Andrew Lang for the strong hoop. Lots of emotion there. The Hawks within 4. Off the miss. Cycli pulls down his 20th board and gets the put back to go. He is the guy who started in Long's stead. Mookie Blaylock knocks down the 3 to cut the Heat lead to just 1. He was stone cold all night until it counted. Now down 3. Mookie again to tie. Can't hit it. Did not have a good shot at it. Didn't get a good look at the basket. Loose ball is Miami's, and Game 3 is Miami's as well. Kevin Lockery's team goes up 2 wins to 1 as they win it, 90-86. An awful day for Kevin Willis. 0 for 8 from the field, only 2 points in the game. Ronnie Cycli stepping up big for the Heat, 12 points and 20 boards, replacing Grant Long. Mookie Blaylock, 3 of 15 from the floor, but those threes were the threes that kept the Hawks in late. The Heat with a chance for history Thursday at the arena.
They've been killing us inside, and we're going with the double team real quick and making him pass it out and try to get his points from maybe jump shots or try to take him away from his game.
You know, backs it to the wall, and so the next game we got to come out and we got to establish the tempo early. We cannot wait on the other team. You know, we're getting off to slow starts. We just got to come out and be aggressive and be confident and make our shots.
I think that, you know, it's a fact that we have to close it out here. We do not want to go back to Atlanta. And I think if we come out and play the same way we did tonight, aggressive defense and pass the ball around to the open people and get some good shots, we're gonna win this game.
As I told these guys the whole year, it's a bit of professionalism. They have to be professional about it. When you're professional about it and you're a professional athlete, you take care of business professionally. You don't come in, it's not college. You take care of business while the business is at hand. And if they have that attitude and they understand that attitude, we won't have to go back to Atlanta. I won't get back to see my mother and my father or get any home-cooked meals, but I really don't want that right now. I can have that in the summertime.
Well, John Salley, a guy who won 2 championships with the Detroit Pistons, certainly knows what he's talking about. The Miami Heat has a chance now to become the only 8 seed ever to knock off a 1 seed in the playoffs. Now, the plight of the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are eliminated from the playoffs 4 times in 6 years by Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, so Michael Jordan retires. The 2 teams face each other again in the playoffs, and wouldn't you just know it? The Cavs come in all lamed up. And tonight, down 2-love in their first rounder, the Cavs were staring right down the barrel of that same old gun again. We'll take you to Richfield, Ohio. And boy, I'll tell you what, the Cavs were not going to be pushed around tonight. In fact, they were going to do all the pushing. Second quarter, Cleveland on the run. Terrell Brandon, look-away pass to Tim Kempton for the layup. And Phil's going, man, we better get a hold of these guys. Third quarter, the Cavs run off the steal. And Mark Price's touch pass turns into a Chris Mills jam. Moments later, Price and Hill work the 2-man game. That was their only recourse this evening, actually. Hill rolls and hits the layup. He is hacked in the act. The no-sweep sign is out, but would it take effect? No. The Bulls open up with an 11-0 run in the fourth quarter. The Cavs D does not get back. Pippen makes him pay. Tied at 75. Seconds later, Tony Kukoc with the pinch. Get it ahead to Steve Kerr, who feeds Pippen, streaming down the middle. Finger roll, nice, and we head into overtime. The Bulls cannot get it down, so watch here as the Cavs try to run. Good transition basketball. Now remember, this is a team whose entire starting front line is sitting on the bench hurt. Mills for the easy 2 right there. Tied at 92. The Bulls in some deep trouble. Shot clock running out, but Pippen comes through, driving the lane just as the buzzer goes. 94-92 Chicago. That was the real killer. The Bulls by 3 with 3.9 left. The Cavs with a chance to tie, but Wilkins' 3 is off the mark, and the sweep is fait accompli. 95-92 the final score in overtime. Mark Price with 23 in the defeat. He had 23 in the other 2 games combined. Pippen with 23 points. Kukoc with 18 off the Bulls Pine. Same old song for these 2. The Bulls move on. The Cavs go home. Now, we're going to get to our little late night coffee talk. We're going to head back to Salt Lake City tonight, where the Utah Jazz have beaten the San Antonio Spurs 105-72. And Jeff Hornacek, welcome to the show. I would sing happy birthday to you, but I don't think you want me to do that. Congratulations on a good game tonight, though. Hello, Jeff?
Yeah.
Jeff, I'm not going to sing to you, so you may as well talk to me. Happy birthday to you, and welcome to the show. Hello, Jeff Hornacek. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll take a break here, and we'll try to get back to... I scared him when I said I was going to sing. We'll take a break, and we'll come right back with a lot more basketball to talk about. The Dallas Mavericks, they make their move today. It's not a big surprise, but we can tell you that Quinn is no longer in, and we'll be back in just a moment.
I think what we did was let the tempo of the game get out of our hands. And when you're playing that up-tempo game, that's pretty much the way that Cleveland likes to play. Price and come at you and pull up and knock shots down. And once we was able to get control of him, our defense really stepped up, and that's what got us back into the game.
That's been the key, and that's what this, playoffs is all about. So, defensively we had to rely on that to get us back in the ball game. And that third and fourth quarter, especially in the fourth quarter, we were able to shut them down and get ourselves back in this ball game.
We had a good game, a couple times up and down, but we had a good game. We came back on the right time.
We wanted to go in this series tonight, and I wasn't going to just stay on the bench and pout and things like that. So, it was a total team effort tonight.
Obviously, those were the Chicago Bulls talking about their victory tonight over the Cleveland Cavaliers and the fact that they're looking ahead to the New York-New Jersey winner. Perhaps it is going to be New York as they lead their series 2 wins tonight. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's try Jeff Hornacek back in Salt Lake City again, where the Jazz have beaten the San Antonio Spurs. Jeff, can you hear me? Hello, Jeff Hornacek.
No. I heard the interviews. I can't hear Fred.
You heard the interviews, but you can't hear me. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to try that break once again, and when we come back, one way or another, we are going to talk to Jeff Hornacek of the Utah Jazz. Stay with us. Inside the NBA continues.
Quiz. Who holds the record for free throw futility in a single game? The answer in a moment.
Welcome back to the show. The Dallas Mavericks owner, Donald Carter, figured all his players and many front office people couldn't be wrong. There was talk of disgruntled players all season long, young and old. But still, there are the other things to talk about. Everything, in fact, pointing to the fact that the first-year coach, Quinn Buckner, was not quite cutting the mustard. And so today, after only 1 season on the job, Buckner is out. He is fired. The bedraggled Mavericks went an NBA worst at 13-69 under Buckner. Mashburn and Jackson had complained about Buckner's inflexibility. Derek Harper had complained as well. Of course, he was later rescued by the New York Knicks. It was a big enough problem that Carter was willing to, well, at least walk away from the final 4 years of Buckner's 5-year contract.
I knew we had a bunch of bridges that got burned early, and I was looking to see if I could find enough timbers to repair them. And if I could have, we wouldn't be having this meeting this morning. So Quinn Buckner is not our head coach anymore. As you look at our actions from the pre-camps through camp into the season, you can find lots of places where that we should have smelled the wood burning, and we should have done something sooner so that we did not have to have this action today. I don't think that we were wrong in what we were trying to do. Didn't turn out that way. But I don't think we were wrong in what we were trying to do. Now, the people that had input on that decision are not going to be a big part of the input on this one.
Well, the Mavericks are a franchise with a great background and a great city, going no place fast, unfortunately. 74 wins over the last 4 years, only one winning campaign in the last 6 years. Hard to believe this team not too long ago was battling for the Western Conference Championship. Well, who's next replacing Buckner? The name circulating around the Metroplex tonight happens to be former Mavericks head coach Dick Motta. Motta was there in the 80s for 7 years. He spent the last part of this past season consulting with the ball club. And whether he wants the full-time grind again, we simply don't know. Stay tuned for more information on that. Now, you know, a sweep for a team winning its first 2 at home is just about the toughest thing there is to fashion in a best-of-5 first-round series. It is tough because that third game will be in enemy territory against a team sure to be playing in a desperate manner. Like a drowning man, he will snatch at razor blades if he has to. Such was the plight of the Houston Rockets tonight, trying to close out the Blazers in Portland this evening. The game is just finished. We'll take a look at the final score for you. 118-115. The Portland Trail Blazers hang on. The series now moves to 2-1 with Game 4 coming up Thursday. Once again, they will play that one in Portland. Well, still ahead on the basketball show for big kids, we've got lots more to talk about, including the young folks. The NBA's Rookie of the Year voting. Close, but crystal clear. Stay with us. We'll go back inside after this.
The answer to tonight's Inside the NBA quiz, who holds the record for free throw futility in a single game? Wilt Chamberlain, 0 for 10 on November 4th, 1960.
Now, one of the more interesting first-round series in the field. You saw it here. The Utah Jazz welcoming the San Antonio Spurs to town for Game 3. The two clubs split the first 2 back in Texas, both in blowout fashion, but there was one thing missing from Game 3. The Spurs' leading rebounder, Dennis Rodman, suspended for this game after portraying Wesley Snipes, the demolition man, in Game 2. You heard all about that on our show yesterday. Anyway, quarterback Steve Young in attendance at Game 3. He's a Utah native, San Francisco quarterback. First quarter, he saw the Jazz come up with a steal. John Stockton, Karl Malone, layup, piece of cake. Utah by 8. Moments later, Willie Anderson of the Spurs uses a nice spin move to get in the lane and then nail down the baby hook. But they had nothing going for them as far as San Antonio was concerned along the baseline. Stockton here penetrates, draws the D, uses the wraparound to feed Malone. A beautiful no-look pass and some heavy traffic. The Jazz by 10. Isn't it nice that Malone kept coming on that play? He knew he would be rewarded. Still in the second, the Spurs cannot knock it down. And Jay Humphries from just inside half court feeds David Benoit, who slams it. Jazz by 14 at the half. So bad for the Spurs. Coach John Lucas collides with a player, pushes away, and he gets a technical foul. He was trying to get that thing, though, anything to get his team fired up. They didn't have it. Fourth quarter, Humphries again with a nice pass, this time to Tom Chambers for the slam. Utah by 32, 105-72, the final score. Utah is the winner in the game, 72 points. Boy, I'll tell you what, San Antonio came close to the tying the all-time low for points scored in a playoff game. The Jazz leading the series 2-1, and they can close this thing out Thursday when they play once again at the Delta Center. Now, a lot of people in basketball felt there ought to be 2 Rookies of the Year, one in each the East and West conferences, and the close balloting in the competition indicates that mightn't have been such a bad idea. But there can be only one. And the media panelists select Golden State center Chris Webber over Orlando's Anthony Hardaway, but just by a hair. Webber took 53 of the 101 ballots cast. Webber, who led his Michigan Wolverines team to 2 straight trips to the NCAA title game, helped the Warriors make the biggest improvement of any team in the NBA. Webber, who scored 18, boarded 9, blocked 2, and assisted 4 per game, fended off furious campaigns from the Hardaway and Mashburn camps to win.
A good feeling, because I remember reading the papers and things and seeing that, you know, when they talked about Rookie of the Year in the beginning of the season, it was Anthony or Jamal, and I never remember my name being mentioned, and I told Fred then that, you know, I'm going to prove all those people wrong, and I just like to thank Coach for really helping me out and the team as well. If you're the #1 pick, I guess that you're supposed to play well and be one of the best rookies. Not, you know, I can't remember the last time a #1 pick came in and just flopped that first year, and I just really wanted to come in and start strong and finish strong. So more so than winning the award, it was just having people say, well, yeah, he was a good pick for that team, and he really can play.
It's an award I thought he deserved, and that's the main thing. He's worked hard for it. He's a big part of what we do. I think his versatility this season is second to nobody that I can remember coming in as a young player.